Assalamualaikum guys, I'm Shafina.
And I'm Naseem. Welcome to the Road to Happiness podcast today.
Yes, and on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about planning your life. So, I'm going to go ahead and get straight into it.
Okay.
What do you mean by planning your life?
I'll ask you the same thing. If I asked you, are you planning your life, Shaf? What are you doing?
Well, I am now. I didn't before. I feel like I did it before. I was just lost, in all honesty. However, I also feel like planning your life, how can you plan your life? Because there are arguments out there on this. What do you say to someone when they say, but God has it already planned for you?
Okay. And God does have a plan for you. But you need
so what's the point of planning it?
So you need to plan. So it goes back to tying your camel. So, and obviously with the power of dua, your qadr can be changed depending on what's going on in your life and how important it is for you to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that level. So if you're looking, qadr can definitely be changed.
Qadr?
Your fate.
Fate, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, that I don't know everything. We've all had different sort of upbringings, and there's some words that I still don't know. So I'm still learning.
Yeah, your fate. So what's written for you?
Got
so
it.
Even the non-Muslims say what's for you will not go by you, right?
Yeah, they do say that. There was a thing on my Instagram that I posted, and it said, no one can close a door that God has opened for you. Nobody. So it's the same thing. Yeah. Okay, but back to planning your life. So for example, how can someone actually plan their life? If you're saying that God has everything for you, why are we planning our life?
Okay, so if you've got an objective financially, you've got an objective education wise, you've got an objective charity wise or work wise. If you're going to not plan where you want to be in a month, in 6 weeks, in 2 months, in 3 months, in a year, like for example, I spoke to someone a couple of years back, and I met them 20 years ago, and I met them again 20 years later. We crossed paths again, and that person had the exact life that they had back then. Nothing had changed in their life. And I asked them, I said, look, 20 years, this has happened to me, and all these things, and how much my life has changed. And this person I used to work for the same company. His life is still the same as it was back 20 years ago. Like, nothing has changed for him. And a big part of that, like, when we got talking, he realized, he goes, so how come you did all of this and you ended up here? And like, we started the journey at the same time 20 years ago.
Right.
We were 20 and now we're 40. So like, what's happened in those 20 years? And it was a key thing that he didn't plan. And I'm a planner. I plan everything. I plan, when I'm going somewhere, I plan my sat-nav. When I've got a staff meeting, I'm planning what's going to be going on. When I've got a client meeting, I'm planning what I'm going to cover. Short term, long term, where I want to be, where I'm spending time with my kids, where I want to be spending time in my business, where everyone is spending time with people in my life. I plan all the time. We're here this weekend because we planned it. Do you get me? Everything's a plan.
Okay, I get that point. I do also have another thing as well. You know how people say everything is written? So, it's fine. That's how you should be. I actually don't agree 100%.
Okay.
Hear me out on this.
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay. I believe that there are multiple plans written. Okay. A bit like a storybook. Those books, when you would read them when you were younger, I don't know if they still have them, where it would say, if you want, the guy to jump off the cliff, for example, turn to page 15. If you want him to turn back and change his mind and go down the slide, turn to page 27. So you got to decide which path you were going on. And then once you got to page 27, if you went that way, then there would be another option, 2 options or 3 options to go here or there. So I feel that there are loads of sort of plans pre-written, but they all depend on the choices and decisions that you actually make. So I don't believe that there's only one plan that's written and that is the only one. That's my own sort of belief and interpretation, if I may say this.
No, totally.
And so I feel that whatever's happened, yes, that was written and pre-planned sort of, however, based on the decisions I had actually made. Now moving forward, or however those past many months and stuff like that, I've decided to make a different way of life, and the choices I'm making now, I feel like I'm on a better path and a better plan. And in terms of planning, I still feel I'm kind of, sometimes I still get a bit not iffy about it, because I think I used to have this other belief. I don't know if it's old belief as well. I used to say, anything can happen in life, so you can have a plan, but it may not be 100%. And I think it's about being okay with not having that plan work out 100%, if that makes sense. Because sometimes God has a different plan for what you are actually planning for yourself. So, but if you have no plan or direction whatsoever, then 20 years from now, you're going to be in the same place. And one of my favorite mentors, Jim Rohn, he will say, like, he went to talk to this company, and they were like, oh, can you tell us what the next 6 years are going to look like? And Jim Rohn says, of course I can. I can tell you exactly what the next 6 years are going to look like. And he said, the next 6 years are going to look like the last 6 years if nothing changes. That right there is my favorite mentor. Okay? And so obviously you're one of my favorites too.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I try.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, you do. I mean, work in progress right here. Testimonial right there. But yeah, so for me, I feel like there are multiple plans that I've written, so I feel like it's up to you to choose which path you want to take, but you've got to plan it out, and then that way, and take the action on that one.
But
so it's not just one.
But it is though. So maybe, for example, one of my clients, they were driving to go to meet a match. On the way there, he had a really bad car accident, and he was fine, but the car was in a bad state. They were looking forward to meeting that day. They weren't meant to meet that day. It was Allah Ta'ala's plan for them not to meet. To call her and let her know that no, this is what's happened. They were drastic. But yeah, but what I'm saying is, you start off in the morning with your plan. The reason I'm going drastic with it is I'm explaining to you. You're saying that I plan, whatever I do has a knock-on effect on what I do. But Allah, again, Allah's plan is, He's the best of planner. So we plan, and maybe he wasn't meant to meet this person. Maybe there was other reasons, But mashallah, with Allah's blessing, he was safe and he was well. But the accident was meant to happen. So it's meaning the accident, meaning in this situation, metaphorically speaking, is there will be roadblocks. With, like, you'll have a plan, you'll have a roadblock, you want to go and meet this person, but you missed your train, or that person was sick that day, or you didn't make that meeting. So you might have planned to do that, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it that you didn't actually carry that out. Does that make sense? It
does. And actually, this is something that I've learned on this journey that I've been on. I will say alhamdulillah twice for that. Because whatever you ask for, I feel like alhamdulillah, when you get it, great. But if something doesn't work for you, or, we won't say the crash or something, but basically a crash comes across it, I see it as not a red flag, but a kind of like, hey, that's not for you.
Maybe.
That's how I feel.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Or maybe you get better and you still keep trying to get to your destination. Do you get me? Or you get another car and you try again and make that journey.
Maybe you have to learn a few other skills before you can handle what you're actually going to be achieving.
And on that note, just while it's in my head, when we're going through matching, people are having conversation, they're like, oh, I really like that person, and maybe they want to meet you again, maybe they don't want to meet you again. We're having these discussions. I always say that you're not going to meet the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be with until you've learned all the lessons you need to learn. Maybe you think you've learned all the lessons you need to learn, but you haven't yet.
Say that one more time.
So when you meet someone and you think, this person's for me, and I think this is going to work out for me, and then it doesn't for whatever reason, and it doesn't move forward. Maybe you've had 3 meetings, 3 or 4 meetings, you still haven't met the person that you want to be with. Is because you've got lessons to learn. You've got your knees to graze, you've got your elbows to get cut, until you think, okay, and then when Allah says, actually, you've got it, you've learned everything you need to learn. Now here's a person that's going to see your worth. Does that make sense? So as you're going through your journey, you're building your worth. And then when you attach yourself to someone and you agree to spend the rest of your life with someone, it's because they see your worth. And you need to learn that as a person, for sure.
This is something that I've recently realized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely realized. And I think I was speaking about this recently as well, with regards to shaping yourself into that person that you need to be ready for, or you want to be ready for. You might not know exactly what they are. It's good to figure out what you actually want, though. And then, like, you can't, okay, example. I think there was a story, I probably won't tell it in the best way. However, there was this kid and with his father in an ice cream store. I don't know where I heard this. Did you tell me this, or have I heard it somewhere else? Anyway, I'm going to repeat it now. Okay.
I'm going to let you tell your version. Go
okay, and I think he was, wanting the sort of the ice cream, the 3-scoop ice cream or something like that, and they waited forever to get this ice cream. And anyway, he went and got the was it the smaller ice cream or something? Anyway,
I'm gonna let you tell it.
Oh no, is it? Am I doing such a wrong way? The main thing is the kid couldn't even handle the smaller ice cream. He ended up dropping it, whatever, but he wanted the bigger ice cream, the whatever. This is a really not the best option of how I've sort of shared the story. But sometimes I feel like in order for you to have...
It's good. The point you're trying to make is sometimes you think you can handle a situation and Allah knows you can't handle that situation.
Yeah, so
therefore he gives you a smaller situation to learn from, and then you grow on that until you can then handle yourself with that situation.
Basically that.
Yeah.
So I know there were certain things, say, I haven't been ready for and I'm not ready for yet, and I know there's going to be something so great. I believe this. I don't know how I do, but I feel it anyway on this journey. And so I know that I've got to step into my greatness, or that level. I've got to have so much sabr and patience, and really plan my own plan and work on that and stay in my lane and focus on those things. And if certain things work out, great, that was the right plan. And when certain things haven't quite worked out, or I need to figure out another skill, or just try and get better at that, then that's what I need to learn to do that. And the challenges are good, because if something was given to us like this on a plate, I mean, where is the joy in that?
No one would appreciate it.
I would be so bored.
No one's going to appreciate it.
No one's going to appreciate it. Like,
just go back to when people study for 4 years, 6 years, whatever, and they're standing on the day of their graduation and parents are crying and they're like, I can't believe I made it through the sweat and the tears and the studying and the late nights and the
library,
the
no sleep,
coffees and trying to saturate this information into your head. You then feel, wow, I did it. So the graduation is it's a step to, and then you've not got your job yet. You just graduated. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Now you have to go and find something to do to actually financially support yourself. But you've made that hurdle. And if you don't have that aim every day and think, right, 4 years down the line, I need to be somewhere. I need to do something. And then at uni, you've got your syllabus. You've got to follow it. And if you follow the syllabus and you're handing in your assignments, you're doing what you're doing, you will, inshallah, make that goal. So it's about eye on the prize all the time,
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to have some more sort of, let me see if there's anything else I need to cover on this. Okay, sometimes I feel like with planning your life, sometimes other people have a plan for you.
I was waiting on this one coming out. It's good, it's here. Let's deal with it.
With parents having plans, or okay, we'll start with parents, but I also have other people might think that they've got a plan for you. How do you deal with that?
Gracefully. Gracefully, you have to deal with it. You have to sidestep it gracefully, because at the end of the day,
if it's not something that you want, is that what you mean? Yeah,
you might not be there yet. Like you said, you've got you're having to take 3 scoops of ice cream, but you can't even handle one yet. And maybe for parents, it's like, oh, you finished your studies, you graduated, now you need to get married. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And then this whole, especially if you're Asian, you're told your whole life you can't talk to boys, you can't communicate with boys, and then it's like
you haven't found someone yet.
And you're
like, what?
And so you're like, excuse me, how am I supposed to be doing that?
Yeah. But then they haven't even taught you how to even do that in the first place.
Yeah.
I think that's what's wrong.
Yeah.
Bad parenting.
I wouldn't say it's bad parenting. I think maybe it's a cultural thing. Allah Ta'ala grant my parents paradise. My dad was born in 1925, so if he was still around, he'd be like 100 soon, very soon. With Allah Ta'ala's blessing. So if you're born back then, you've got your culture and traditions of what was happening back then. Does that make sense?
What about now? There's a lot of bad I'm going to say this right now. There's a lot of bad parenting going on right now.
That's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah. But I think that if you're a parent and you're listening and you're looking to get your son or daughter married, and before you say anything, I applied it to myself as well with Allah Ta'ala's blessing, and I've thought that I've lived my life, you know, I have my kids, I have my life. Now it's my children's time to find a companion. And when they were going through that, when they asked me, oh mom, what about this person, that person, and you know, I want to take it forward with this person, the only thing I kept saying is, pray istikhara. You have to spend the next 50 years of your life. Yes, whoever you choose, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to be polite, and I'm going to try my best to have a connection with them, but the biggest connection needs to be yours. So in days gone by, when it was my time, the biggest connection had to be between my parents and my husband's parents. That had to be there. And then everything was sort of, you were sort of watching your life unfold as parents made all these decisions. Yeah. So definitely if you're a parent and you want your son or daughter to be happily married in the world of 70% divorce rate, it's definitely really important that they get to know their own worth, be able to communicate their own worth and understand where they want to be, allow them to meet somebody who's going to go on a similar journey with them, they're headed in the same direction, allow them to understand and communicate with somebody who they feel they're coming to you and say, look, mom, dad, I think I can make it work with this person. That's far more, and it will give you a much higher level of comfort as a parent that your child is happy in their relationship. They're with a husband, wife that is taking care of them and is prioritizing them. And yeah, you're getting on with your life, and you will find, especially when children get married, they get busy with their own relationships, raising their own kids, doing their own thing. And that's part of life. It's a part of the circle of life. And your children are a gift. The way I see it, and what we're taught from the Deen perspective, your children are a gift to you. So if you want to use that gift wisely, is give them all the life skills and let them understand who they are, what they need, but then allow them to make their own decisions. And Allah Nakiri, if they don't make the best decision and they have to come home again, it's okay. Because at the time they thought that was the best decision for them. And if it's not, you know, whenever they've got their life back in order, then inshallah ta'ala, they will find somebody that's better for them. And they'll have learned from that experience rather than being forced into a relationship or emotionally kind of coerced into a relationship that's not the best for them. They're doing it, say, you know, and it's an innate thing. I've had it. I'm sure anybody listening's had it. You'll have it, Shaf. That you just want to make your parents proud, right? You just want to make your parents proud.
100%. That's where I am right now. Just to see my mom, she's so happy right now. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. It's, you know, it's taken a bit of a while, a bit of a journey, but now I'm just like, my mission is just want to make her proud, just want to make her smile, just want to make her happy, just want to make her proud. You know, like, yeah. It took me a while to get here, but you know, we get there in the end, alhamdulillah. And maybe you can add that into your plan.
Yeah. And then the du'as of parents, they're priceless, right? Du'as of your parents, for sure, mashallah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that
So in terms of planning, we've covered that, you know, it's good to put pen to paper. Let's summarize. It's good to put pen to paper and have your plan. Be aware that your plan could fall off the cliff at any time and you might have to go back to the drawing board and create a new plan.
And even though things are all sort of written, I also believe this as well. I believe that obviously you have your plan, make dua for it. I think that's really important. I was going to add to that, with every step that you take. I mean, we know this anyway, but maybe someone doesn't know this, or maybe they're not consciously really doing this. Every step we take is bismillah with everything. This is something that I've been implementing a lot. Every sort of decision I'm making, every step I'm taking, you know, or everything I'm doing, or before we do this, bismillah, you know, like just doing everything in God's name. It's such a spiritual, deep thing. I feel that when you do it consciously and you're sort of aware that I'm doing this and I'm blessing it with everything, because for example, it's a bit of a side tangent, there might be two people that, you know, are on this journey, on this health journey or something like that, and or they're trying to heal from something, and they're both taking the same stuff, but one person is bismillah before everything that they're taking, Even, for example, when I take my capsules or something, I know they're really good for me. They're very healthy for me. They're proven to scientifically do this and that and everything. And they've got anti-aging qualities, all this stuff in there. Anyway, but every time I take them, I say Bismillah before I have it. And I feel like that works even more because Allah has the power to really have something to work or not. So sometimes there are some people that you've tried to do everything for them, but were we intentionally actually saying Bismillah before that they were having that treatment or something like that? You know, so you might have a plan for something, but with that plan, you've got to Bismillah with every step and stage, and inshallah you get it and you make dua for it. Because another thing is, I believe everything's been written, but there's multiple paths that have been written, and also the power of dua has the dua has the power to change things. And sometimes people argue with me that it doesn't. I believe it 100% does.
There's many books. There's an amazing book out there. It's called Dua, Weapon of the Believer.
I want to read that.
So yeah, it's amazing.
Weapon of the Believer.
Yeah, it's excellent. If you can get your hands on it, definitely read it. It's I read it a very long time ago at the beginning of my sort of practicing journey, and it gave me solid direction, and it just kind of, because you need it. You need to reinforce your faith, because a man will rise and dip, right? It will rise and dip. So if you're reading, and the other really good book, I don't know if I sent you the link for it, is Don't Be Sad.
No, I need to.
I'm gonna send it you.
Oh, I love books.
It's written from an Islamic perspective. It's written by one, I think it's Imam Ghazali. I'm not sure of the name, but it's called Don't Be Sad. It's like kind of pale beige yellow color. It's got green writing on the front, so you can't miss it. Most Islamic bookshops will have it, and it really does. It teaches you to not think about yesterday's stale bread and tomorrow's anticipated bread. It's looking at the fresh bread on your table today,
being present,
and being present in your focus, and doing shukr for everything. And I think that if you hang out with people who do shukr for the smallest things, shukr to get to yourself to the end of your journey, or you get home again safe, or whatever you planned out to do, however it turned out, shukr Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that whatever the outcome was, it was the best outcome. So
100%.
So these are kind of really good books too. If you can get your hands on them, definitely read them, inshallah, as well.
Inshallah, definitely. I'm very excited to be reading those books for sure. So planning your life, get started on it. If you feel stuck, make dua, do your istikhara on those big decisions. And
definitely. And planning, it takes, even today we did some planning with you, right? How did you feel about that?
Felt interrogated, being pushed out of my comfort zone. I was like, do I have to? She's like, yep, come on, let's do it. We need to, because I honestly have been so busy. I really haven't. It's not a good excuse, by the way, but the truth is I haven't actually fully made time to sit down and really write things down and plan it, because I could either go two ways with what I'm doing right now. I could either just let the time go by and I've kind of just floated along and gone with the flow. Don't go with the flow, people. Not the way to do things. Don't do it. Don't ever think we're just going to we're going to see how it goes. No. Seeing how it goes does not work in life.
Yeah. So can I jump in on this? So yesterday when we were saying you had this like mini little dip, and realizing what hadn't been achieved this month or what wasn't done this month. How did, when we sat down and planned, just even the thought of putting a plan into place, how did that shift your mindset?
Okay, so yesterday I think I was having a bit more of almost gonna have a bit of a mental breakdown, because I get like that when I feel like I don't have structure, or I feel like I'm not as productive, because sometimes life happens, family stuff, this, that, your time is given everywhere else, but then doing something for you actually to progress, if you have the growth mindset and growth kind of thingy, this, you'll understand and relate to this, and every so often if I'm not on that track, then I will fall apart, about to fall apart. Naseem saw that happening, and so now that we have spoken about and implemented, or not implemented just yet, but we have written down,
we've got a plan.
We have a plan, basically. That's what it is.
We spent 2 hours on a plan this morning
whilst I was getting ready.
Multitasking.
That's how you fit it in, but we now have a plan, so I feel a bit more calmer. I know that I can get through the day today, and inshallah tomorrow, I've got a schedule for tomorrow and the day after of getting this plan of giving myself a week to fix all these things. You have to put the time in. It just means I have to sacrifice other things, because sometimes you got to take priority of things. But if you plan your own situation, your own life a bit more, you will speed through things a lot faster. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And then you just look at your plan. Instead of worrying, you look at your plan and start doing things, and you think, right, what's one, what's two, what's three, and the achievement as well. If you make your plan, even for your plan for your day, and you can score 2 or 3 things off that you did that day, when you sign out of your computer or when you sign out whatever you're doing, whatever that plan was, you have this sense of, mashallah, I got 3 out of 5 done today, or I even got 3 out of 10 done today. You feel your life, your the needle shifting, and that gives you that elevated feeling that you set out to do this, and wow, you got it done.
And also, you said 3 out of 5. So I just wanted to say, when you're doing your plan, you won't have 100% days every single day. Most people, the aim would be to have like 80% days most of the time.
Even 50% days, yeah. Do you get me?
But I'm gonna aim for 100. But you know, 80%. Could be 50%. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
because
there
sometimes
will be days.
There will be days, and sometimes you'll fall down to 10%, but then you push back up 50 to 80. So it's a lot better than the people that don't have a plan and not even trying and not even doing 1%. And if you're that person, I would say think about
what's
your life
our
right
final
now.
words? Right, let's say it together. Get planning, guys.
Basically,
get planning.
Get planning.
Get planning. Inshallah. Listen, it's been a really great episode again today with the Road to Happiness.
Yeah.
I'll be on this road. I think we're doing
I
really
feel
well.
like we're doing I feel like we've got a different glow. I'm in a much better place when we first started doing these podcasts.
Yeah.
And I think the video doesn't lie. This is one thing. And I'm looking back at the other podcasts I was doing. There was so much going on in my own personal life and things like that. And I feel like now, looking back at our videos now, I feel like there's progress. You're seeing it. You're seeing the journey. It's live. It's not all. We're not here to all talk about me, but just to share certain topics and things like that. I feel, and going through the process myself with Naseem, and so these topics that we do talk about, some of them are coming from you guys, from your comments and DMs, and some of them are just coming from like sort of just life. We hear stories and we're like, I think we should talk about that.
Yeah.
And
sessions with clients, or what's going on in meetings, or what comes up in conversations. And I get asked questions all the time. It's crazy. I'm thinking, am I an encyclopedia? Maybe it's some in there somewhere. And I don't know. Most of the time when you ask me a question, I can find it. I can find the answer, and they're like, what about this?
You've got that much experience. That's why we're like, let's find out. Let's dig them out.
At least there's like an attempt to make a change for that person, I think. And just like words of wisdom, words of kindness. Yeah. And that's maybe another podcast for another day.
Definitely. 100%. Inshallah.
But thank you for listening, guys. And inshallah, we'll see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to listen to this podcast. If you found this beneficial, give this video a like and hit the subscribe button to be notified for the next episode.